Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
Bucket.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
How's
What's
it
up?
going?
It's going.
It's going.
It's going.
We didn't have a show last week because, there wasn't much to talk about. So I guess now the fun thing to talk about is that we're going to be every other week for a little while and see how that goes. Basically, like through the holidays and into the first of the year, and we'll see how that goes for us. Cause, yeah.
We get closer to the Game Awards and stuff like that. We'll have more news, I'm sure, coming out. But
some stuff that picks up. But for right now, expect every other week unless something exciting happens, I guess. Which also it puts us on track because it'd be like next week we won't have a show, and the week after that we will, and then it's Thanksgiving. So I put us on the track for holidays too. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Both the holidays are on a weekend too. Next month, Christmas and
New Year's. Yep.
New Year's.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're usually off then anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we'll be off for a couple of weeks.
We'll probably still be off because I think they're both on Sundays, which is when we record. So.
Yep.
Fun.
They are both. They are both on Sunday, so yeah, they'll have 2 weeks with that one.
Well, I didn't pick a topic. Nugget's been sick this weekend, and this week, so I've been with a small child like the whole time, and I've been frazzled.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks with illness for everybody has been stupid. So
it's that time of year for anybody that's under the age of like 100 to get deathly ill.
Under the age. Well, man, luckily I'm over 100 then.
Oh, too funny. Yeah, it is flu season, so make sure everybody's washing their hands, doing what they're supposed to be doing, please.
Yes.
Keep yourself healthy.
Maybe get your flu shot. That's probably a good idea. I gotta get mine. Chicken already got his, so yeah.
I got mine in August, so
maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I don't know.
When Dr. Boof is a pharmacist, at the end of the day, it gets done early in our household before the flu season hits. So
well, regardless, we had like a really terrible time trying to it's hard to even be like, what did everybody play this weekend? Because we usually are like, well, we all played this weekend because we get together and play stuff. Man, the universe was like, not this weekend, hoes. Because first of all, we had stupid. We thought we had 6 people, and then we had 5 people, and then maybe 4 people, and then maybe 5 people, and then
and then 6 people, and then no people, and
yeah,
because
we're like, okay, fine, we'll play Murder in Gary's Mon, and Chicken's game didn't work, and then
I fixed it, by the way.
Yeah, he fixed it. And we're like, okay, well, we'll play Gang Beast, and then Baka kept disconnecting. It's like, no, we can't do that. We'll play Deceit. Baka disconnected. It's like, all right, you know what? I just do not even want to talk to you people anymore. I am done here. It took us that whole thing took place over like an hour and a half of us trying to get everything together, and it's like, I'm throwing in my towel. I'm done.
Yeah, the disconnecting thing was just like, and like, starting off with like, Chicken has done nothing with this game since the last time we played it.
So why doesn't it work?
Yeah, why doesn't it work? It's not like he added new stuff to the game that broke it or anything like that. Nothing. It just didn't work.
And it was the physics engine. Every time I would try to load up a map, it'd be like, there are no textures. Your engine has crashed. It's like,
but why though?
Why? Why did the engine crash? Okay, the engine crashed. Cool, that's great. Shitty. So yesterday I uninstalled it and reinstalled it, and it started working. I could load up maps again. We'll have to see if it'll actually work for playing games.
Yeah, at some point you should probably load it up and let me and somebody else join in and make sure that you can still support people on your map.
Yeah, hopefully.
It was just not a great time. And then yesterday, Chicken and I were gonna play something before bed. We're like, yeah, extra hour because daylight savings is like the only good thing that comes from this stupid time change bullshit. Extra hour. And 30 minutes in, the transformer on our street exploded, so all the power's out. And I was like,
I will say we're playing Silent Hill Downpour, one of Griff's games she rather enjoys. It is so adorable. Like we take turns playing. It is so adorable while I'm playing. Like random things will just drop and try to scare you or whatnot, and just hearing her like peep every time. Last night there was like 3 in a row. The first one was like a box falling and she jumped real quick, and I was like, oh, okay. Second one was a little doll laughed and she jumped again. I was like, come on, you know what's happening here. Third time again she jumps again. It's like, You gonna get scared over every string that moves?
Yes.
Yes. It's also an advantage too because, you know, Griff's memory is not the best.
No.
But that allows her to be able to play games like this over and over again and have a new experience. Because even though she's played the game before, she hadn't memorized that part.
I haven't played it at all. I mean, it doesn't, so it doesn't really scare me. But there are a couple of times where you're going down a scary corridor and like a scene plays out in front of you, and most people are like, "Oh my god!" Me, I just run straight into it. It's like, let's go right into it, not afraid. Run into the darkness, and she's like, "Are you really gonna run into that?" It's like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's do it."
He plays scary games very differently than I do.
Yes, I'm very bold. Like, if it kills me, I'll just do it again. If it doesn't, then problem solve.
I've gotten to see some side quests this time that I've never seen before because I've been too scared to like finish them. So, yeah, it's been fun. We did all of the side quests except for 2. And 1 is because it changes, it gives you the funny ending if you do that side quest. And 2 is because it makes you kill people, and we're trying to get the good ending. So we don't want to kill anybody, so we can't do that one.
We haven't killed a single enemy. Yeah. I've knocked down a lot. Also, I've learned my new meme play style. It's so funny. Griff loves it too. It's throwing shit. Like, I will pick up, like, I think at one point I just stacked a bunch of items into a room, and I was like, all right, it's a fight time. And then I would just pick up stuff and throw it and run around and pick it up and throw it, like throw chairs, turn it into WWE style until you knock them down. Because you can't kill anything, but you can knock it down. Just don't execute. So I just kite things around and whip it at it. I mean, it's easier than fighting. And we got the strongest weapon in the game too, because you know me, I like the fucking min-max, so...
Yeah,
I'm gonna turn these bosses.
This side quest, so we can get this thing. We're not gonna take this, but we have it, and it's like, okay.
2 strongest weapons in the game. One's a golden deagle, which we already have. I'm gonna turn bosses into mincemeat with it, and the other one's a demon statue, which has the highest durability, highest damage, and so we can't use that because it's a sharp weapon. I don't want to risk killing anything. So
yeah, I can't blame you there. If you're trying to go with no kills, I definitely wouldn't use it.
Yeah, so we good now. We ready to finish the game because we got everything done. Ready to get the good ending.
If the universe will let us.
So we'll see where that goes now. But so far, I'm enjoying the game. There are a few critiques I have for it. Our main character is way too quiet. Like,
it was 2012.
You say that like that's a long time ago. Yes, I get it was a decade ago, but oh my god. One of the fucking tips on the load screen is if you're stuck, listen to Murphy's.
Listen to what Murphy has saying.
And it's like, okay, and I walk around town and the motherfucker says nothing.
Yeah, he's just silent for the most part.
It's like, oh say something. Say something, motherfucker. Say something. It's like, no. Let's not say anything.
Well, that's what we
I have got to play Plague's Tale Requiem. I ended up beating it. Which is a sequel to Plague's Tale Innocence, which I absolutely loved. I think it's 2019 is when that one came out. And enjoyed the hell out of it. And the other one just came out. It's a good continuation of the story that was on there. What still blows my mind is how many rats are on a screen, and my PC can handle it. Like, it doesn't... It's amazing to me that things are not bogging down with the amount of shit that's on the screen at one time. How things have changed when it comes to game making, but its storyline's really good. The only thing that's irritating to me is if you're familiar with the story at all, there's the main character that you're playing with, which is a sister to a little boy, and the little boy is annoying as shit. Aww. But he's a little boy, and that's what he does.
Stay in the house.
Does not stop complaining about things and freaking out about things, and it's like, I get it. He's a little kid. But as a gamer, I don't want to deal with this. I'm a parent. I've already dealt with this shit. I don't want to do it this way. No, it's the game. They did a really good job of mixing in some variety gameplay. Because part of the issue you run into with that style game, or that particular game itself, is the rats are scared of light, right? So basically, you're manipulating whether you're putting light in areas or removing light from areas, how you're going to do that, what you need to do in order to be part of your gameplay. But what they did really well is they brought in other characters to allow you to change your gameplay. Because let's say everything's lit and you're trying to deal with humans, then you have to deal with that in a different way. And so it was really well done. It is one of those games to where I'm interested to see what they're doing with the third one, but they finished the game. If it was not for the end credits, because that's like the new thing. Everybody goes in and they'll add new things to be able to tell you there's a sequel. And they originally said this was going to be a trilogy. But if you didn't know that there was supposed to be a trilogy, you'd just be like, all right, cool. This was awesome. This was a great couple of games. Cool beans.
They probably did that so in case something happened and they couldn't make the third game. Like, that's smart.
Maybe so.
To make it feel like it was still a good, full experience.
That's always a safe thing to do, which is why a lot of people hate Netflix shows, is because they don't ever write feel-good conclusions. They're always like, yeah, and then they open it up. It's like, but Netflix are going to fucking cancel shit on the regular. At least give us a little bit of closure, a chance.
That you get into it, yeah. Shows. Make sure you get into 2 seasons of it. Make sure the second season of a Netflix show hits. Otherwise, you're not getting it.
Exactly.
The amount of shows that I've watched is one season going, this is pretty good, and then find out that it's canceled already. I'm like,
but they leave you in a place where it's like, but it feels like there's supposed to be more, and you're like, why do you do this?
I know, right? It's like a show that I was watching. I think it's like the 4th season or 5th season. There's supposed to be one more, but the end of that one felt like it could be the ending if they don't get to it. It's like, cool, satisfied. If you give me another one, even better. If not, I'm still okay with it. But too many shows are just like, oh yeah, we're gonna have 5 seasons, and now we're just gonna leave it cliffhanger the whole time.
The writers go, we're gonna have 5 seasons, and Netflix is like, yeah, sure you are. Go ahead, go off. Oh, 1 season, you're done. Okay, thanks. Have a nice day. What I thought. Nope.
But with Requiem, the game is on Xbox Game Pass for those people that have played the first one or are interested in playing it. You can play it for free if you got Xbox Game Pass. So. Both Xbox PC Game version Pass. And the Xbox version. So
that's good. Yeah, that's good.
So it's on both, and like I said, really really good game. And then I'm starting God of War Tuesday, I think is when it comes out.
Probably most games are Tuesday or Friday, so one of those.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ones next week, but I want to say it's Tuesday was when that one started. So I'll start the game up then. And see how that one goes.
We didn't talk about it on the show. Yeah, I was thinking about it because Chicken and I have already made plans for what we're going to play after this, because he's never played Uncharted, so we're going to play the Uncharted series after Silent Hill. We watched the Uncharted movie. I watched it, everybody.
Yay!
A movie. It was a Mark Wahlberg movie.
She doesn't like Mark Wahlberg. I don't. That needs to be a prerequisite.
As an actor, I just don't like him. He's the same character in every movie he's in. So, but it wasn't like the worst thing ever. It just was one of those things where it's like, knowing the Uncharted lore, you're like, oh, this goes here though, but this goes here, and that's who that's supposed to be, but they don't feel that way. And so it's like, it's one of those things where Chicken was fine because he's never played it, and he's kind of, fine with separating one from the other. And I also, like, as much as I enjoy Tom Holland, and I think he's, cute and everything, he is one of those people that forever feels like they're a teenager to me.
Oh,
and so when he's like, but I'm 25, and I'm like, but are you?
Are you really?
He's a good actor. Like, I thought
he's
he
like
nailed
close
some
to 30,
of the comedy.
isn't he?
Yeah,
he might actually be really 25.
But it was one of those things where, like, they were mentioning Nathan Drake's age in the context
How old is he?
of the story.
He's 26.
Yeah, there you go.
He was born in 1996.
Like, a constant teenager face, It's just hard for me to be like, okay, you're an adult bartending in a bar in New York, and you've had.
He's 26.
I know.
Whatever.
He just has like a face that looks like a teenager. He would be cast in all of those TV shows where they're casting like 30-year-olds to play 15-year-olds.
If he didn't become an actor, he could have been a narc, is what she's saying. Like
he could have been the I don't remember that guy's name. The To Catch a Predator's like partner in crime, partner in justice. There you go. That's what
partner
it is.
Partner in justice.
I've been part of 21 Jump Street, where they pretend like they're teenagers and bust people for drugs.
Yeah, if they actually did a really good reboot of 21 Jump Street, they could have did it that way instead of the crazy movies that they ended up making that were horrible.
But Well, I also thought about it because the end of the movie is one of those things where they did it where they're like, okay, well this wraps everything up, but if we wanted to make more movies, which I'm sure they're going to because they had a cut scene or a scene in the credits, so
it also did really well at the box office. So
yeah, so I'm sure there's going to be more. But it did do pretty well with this is a satisfying wrap up. We could be done if the studios decide not to fund any more of these. Or
I mean, the movie
Tom
was
Holland
fun.
eventually actually looks 30, and then we can't have that.
I mean, movie was good. I enjoyed it. Plot was moderate. Action was good.
I just really
overall
wish they
it was
had
a good
somebody
story.
not Mark Wahlberg.
I think it's funny too because Griff and I had a whole conversation about this, and both of us had the same argument. Like the problem, the issue was the fact that there's one part where you look at the movie, because I don't want to give the part away, but we both went, how did that happen? How did they get those there? Like, it makes no sense on how they got them there. And then, conveniently, the bad guys have figured out how to get them out.
Yeah, like instantly.
Instantly had figured it out, how to get them out. It's just like, come on. Ugh. Okay. They had all the means to be able to get them out. So I think I really enjoyed that movie. I really did.
They gave Nolan North a cameo.
Yes.
That was such a good cameo.
It was really good. And I think if you look on the credits, it just says "Guy on the Beach."
Probably.
Like that's his character name.
Yeah.
Oh, so good, so good.
But I kind of feel like
to him too.
I feel like they need to almost Stan Lee him. So like every time he's in every one of them.
And it's like a different character every time, but always like himself.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
Always. Andy needs to be like, weren't you that guy on the beach? Maybe.
You know, and if eventually they add Sam into the movies, then you put Troy as one of the cameos as well.
I mean, they have to add Sam.
You just see him hanging out together at a bar or something.
Mm.
That would be hilarious. That is my dream cameo. Nolan North and Troy Baker sitting in a bar. There you go. Get on it, Sony or whoever's making that film.
I don't know who's making that one. It's got to be Sony, doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure it was a Sony.
Sony,
it would have to be Sony.
Hands in it, so
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they will never let anybody just make movies.
No.
Freely.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't nearly as good as the game. And there was a missing character that's like my whole motivation for going. Okay, we're gonna play the Uncharted games now because they left this character out, and I don't like that.
A sequel is in development.
Well, but this is I don't know what person you're talking about, but this is a prequel to all the games.
It is, but they wrote a character into the prequel that you don't meet until further into the series, which means they wrote out the...
It's an entirely separate entity.
I know.
The lore of the games doesn't matter.
Can't handle it.
It made me miss this specific character, so I'm like, we're going to play the game so that
they will probably add said specific character into the sequels and onwards.
She can't handle it.
I know.
It's fine.
I know.
I mean, but I watched it. It wasn't terrible. It was like a good popcorn flick. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's dumb action. Yeah, like you have to kind of suspend disbelief.
You don't have to kind of. You have to completely suspend disbelief.
But I mean, the games are set up that way too. They have all this supernatural shit that they end up adding into the games, and it's like
they do give a lot of like rationale, like where it's like, oh, this looks supernatural, and then they're like, but actually it's this thing. But occasionally, yes, there is the we can't explain this element of it.
Natural phenomena.
Yeah.
Supernatural phenomenons.
So I think they leaned into it in the first game and then went, maybe we shouldn't. But
that's one I would love a remake of. That needs to happen. But whatever.
Well, when we are replaying it, guess who's going to be playing the jet ski level?
That would be Chicken. Chicken would be doing the jet skis.
Do you want to finish this game? Yes. Okay, cool. Take this controller. You're doing the jet skis. We'll be here for hours.
I'll be honest. Games like Uncharted, I can just murder through. Linear games are like putting hot butter on toast. It's so damn easy. Like the Tomb Raider games. The Tomb Raider games, I just burn through because you give me a linear game, even if you give it like you could go this way or this way, or you could do it however. I try to be stealthy. If it doesn't work, I just murder everything and move through. It's like, it's okay. Short of like turning up the difficulty and making them bigger bullet sponges, it's just go right through. Right through. So I like hack and slash games like Sekiro or Elden Ring or any of those games like that, because the melee combat is so much more tricky based on how you have to fight. Because with guns, it's just aim and shoot and hide behind cover.
Well,
usually.
The challenge comes in for me because I'm not great at aim. So
the other challenge you're gonna get, Chicken, is you're really good with memorizing controls. They switch between each one of the games on what the controls are.
That's
yeah, I do remember that.
I was like, why? Why did you do this? Like, this is set up. Then you go to the second game and you're like, no, why? This is not what I learned.
Well, looking forward to that. So, do we want to talk about the news?
Sure.
I mean, we're talking about media, movie forms of media and Netflix.
Oh, we do have a couple.
You're going to start with the Netflix and right off the bat, are we?
Why not?
Works
we
for
have,
me.
Well, I haven't also played Last of Us either, so I'm sure we can add that to our list of games to play, Griff.
I mean, I wasn't gonna push it on you, but if you want to, I'll put it on our list.
Yeah, you put it on
If I have to.
I mean, that game won't be too hard to play. I can make you play Horizon Zero Dawn then.
It's not make me play it. I will play that game. I don't even think we own that game. We'll have to get a copy, but yes.
Oh, we did own that game. I thought I
No,
bought
we
it.
rented it.
Rented it? Okay.
It's on, that one's on PC, so that one's nice to have.
But yes, for The Last of Us, they finally get it. We were right. We called that shit that they were going to be releasing it early in 2023, and it's January 15th is the release day.
Well, that was pretty early.
Yes. I knew they were going to release it early since they just released the remake.
Yeah. Well, that was our basis for that comment, so checks out.
Oh yes, for sure. So apparently we're going to see how the 1-to-1 video game. This is supposed to be exactly the same. Supposed to be a 1-to-1
well,
from the game.
I'm going to say it's as close as you can get.
As close as you
because
can.
Because video games, it's very difficult to do a 1-to-1. But I would say it's probably going to be as close as you get.
It's going to be.
I think it's interesting because they are adding the DLC into it, and I'm interested to see how they do that. Griff and I talked about it because we were like, are they going to make it a flashback, which I think is the most ideal, and then if you do that, when do you do it, and how do you do it, how do you present it? So that's going to be interesting. But from a storytelling standpoint, I think it's harder to tell a 1-to-1 story of a video game, but if you can, this would be the format to do it from.
Take a TV.
Because The Last of Us has a very movie feel to it.
But it's, like an 8-hour movie. Nobody's going to sit through that. But you can make it, work because you've got this long format TV, setting.
Like, especially with HBO, they will probably, you could probably tell the whole story over 2 seasons, 3 seasons, maybe. If you
think
really
they're going to
want to
milk
stretch
it
it
for 3,
out.
Because I think they're going to end up adding the second one into it.
I'm sure
so you can end up in 4th or 5th.
Yeah, I would assume that they would. Granted, the second one didn't get as hardcore praise as the first one did, because the first one everybody can mostly agree it's super good, and the second one is super good, but not everyone's going to agree with you on that.
No, they're not going to agree because of
some of the themes of the second game.
Well, the attachment that people have to characters it creates a fandom, right? And so it's if you don't do with the characters what these fans want you to do with those characters, then they don't like the game the way that they want it to. It's the only way I can present that without spoiling the game for anybody. But me personally, I like what they did with the game. It changed my perspective in the game on how I wanted to play, and I liked the way that the building, because to me it was building it like a television series instead of a video game. Like, it was different than a regular video game on how they told a story. So it would be very interesting to see how they would adapt that one. And I think you're going to get a lot of people that have never played the video game that are going to really enjoy this show and end up, if you move into the second one, you're not going to really care.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess it's going to be dependent on how successful and how well received the first one is, because people are going to watch it, so it's going to get views. It's just critically from, not just the critics, but the fans as well, like what the hot take is, essentially.
Well, but I mean, because you got an entire group of people that love the Game of Thrones books, and then they got to the show, and the first season they were completely critical about how it was written, what was done, blah blah blah, all that stuff for the actual television show. And he had a group of people that had never read the books that absolutely loved everything that was happening. And then by the time the second season came along, the people who read the books kind of got along board, like, you know. I'll
give it to you that most people, the first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones, even the book readers, were pretty satisfied. Definitely gonna have complaints in every department, but it wasn't until we started getting to like the third and fourth where they really started diverging pretty hard. Where the show people were like, "This is great, it keeps themes," and everyone else was reading books like you're leaning pretty far off into the, you know, different world. And that actually leads to our next article pretty damn well too. That if you start breaking from the source material, you're gonna lose part of your audience, and in this article's case, you're going to lose the literal heart and soul of the show. Henry Cavill is leaving Witcher.
Yep.
Which that it's done. Like, that's the end of The Witcher.
They're gonna do season 4, but I'm willing to bet it's not gonna be as good, and they're gonna drop it after.
I'm sure they will.
100%.
I mean,
100%.
The writers talked about how they actively disliked the source material for both the games and the books, and it's like, then why are you writing this series? Why did you sign on for this? Like, is it a spite project for you? If you hated it so much, like, what is the deal?
It may have also been a thing where they were basically told, look, if you want money to write something, you have to do this project for us.
Well, I mean,
then if it does well, you can do whatever after. But.
Yeah.
And in some interviews, Henry Cavill was like, in the first season he wanted a deeper version of Geralt, because in the books, I have not read, but in the books he's a lot deeper of an individual. He's a philosopher. He's an intellectual. Like, he's a very deep individual. But they didn't really develop that into his character, and he was just kind of like, just grunt this, like, and that.
He's more like the character from the video games. In the first video game, he's a lot.
Yeah.
So,
because in the third video game, he's actually pretty good. He talks a lot. He's deep. Like, he does a lot of interaction with people. And he wanted that deeper character, and they didn't let him have that. And then they started diverging the story, and it's just he wasn't in it anymore. Like,
yeah,
I think at one point they wrote a whole scene for, not spoilerish, for a character's death in which which Geralt gives a speech about it, a monologue about it, and they just cut it and just did something entirely different.
Yeah, I guess
so it's like you really took that development from that character into him just being a grunt machine.
Well, but I mean, it's a possibility too that he didn't perform that particular monologue well too. I'm just saying, Henry Cavill's a good actor. Don't get me wrong, but everybody has a bad day. Even Superman can have a bad day.
Speaking of such, he's Superman again.
Yeah. So it's not like he won't, you know.
And that might have something to do with his choice as well, because depending on what they're doing with DC Universe, but I don't think the DC people know what they're doing with their own universe, so we'll see.
No, they don't.
I mean, I feel like Henry Cavill was a pretty good Superman. Like, he had that imposing presence as Superman, in my opinion.
He was a good Superman. He fit the part. I think the problem is again, DC doesn't know what they're doing with their own franchise, and so
part of it is because 100%. Warner Brothers has such a deep hand in that cookie jar, and they're not letting the actual DC company do like the writing and stuff, because like in the comics, they're doing great with comic wise, for the most part anyway, but. Yeah, like the Superman that they had him play, like they were like, oh well, we're gonna make it dark and gritty, and it's like that's not Superman though.
Yeah.
Batman is the dark, brooding, gritty superhero. I mean, so Superman is basically the Boy Scout.
Yes, and that's why he gets all of the fun powers, because you can't stop him. Which is also, whatever. That's neither here nor there. That's a superhero conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were talking about Henry Cavill anyway, so.
Yes.
But it is worth mentioning. Season 3 of The Witcher does have him in that. That's still yet to be released. It's coming soon. Actually, it says Christmas Day, I guess. December 25th.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna try to explain why.
Oh no, wait.
He looks so different later.
Blood Origin, the spinoff, is happening on December 25th. Season 3 is summer of 2023. So we'll still have one more season of Henry Cavill, and then after that we go to Kmart Hemsworth. I mean, Liam Hemsworth.
I mean,
terrible funny.
Like,
we'll have Geralt at home.
Yes.
So season 3 isn't even out yet. I have a feeling they will cancel Witcher before season 4 then.
You think so?
Because if season 3, like, everybody knows, especially this breaking well before season 3 coming out, everyone is going to look at it and be like, well, this is Henry. This is his last season. I mean, there's no point. You could watch this, and the next season you're going to have to detach from the character because it's going to be someone else. So, I mean, I'm a lot less interested to watch now.
I wonder, this goes back to wrapping things up. In order to get if season 3 kind of wraps satisfyingly to where you're not worried about season 4.
It's possible.
But I mean, the spinoff Blood Origin, I mean, if it does halfway decent, people might end up just watching that one instead.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they did like an animated movie or something like that. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That basically took place before Geralt.
Yep. So, yeah, they just build the world around it and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
I don't even know how to transition to any of these.
I don't either. I'm looking at the 3 articles going, how do you transition to any of this? And something.
Switching gears.
Just like, hold on. I got a way around this.
Okay.
Probably not, but we're going to do it. We're talking about a franchise in The Witcher, and then there's this group that recently bought all of the Lord of the Rings stuff. This has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, but it does have to be the group that's on there. Embracer Group.
That was terrible.
It was horrible. Embracer Group, who just recently purchased a lot of the Square Enix stuff, is shutting down one of its former studios that it just recently renamed to Anoma. It's shutting it down, but it was in charge of a lot of the mobile games from Square Enix. And they were like,
not really doing that.
Yeah, Embracer's like, no, we're not doing that. And they're taking some of the employees from there and they're moving them over TDS Montreal, and because they're literally in the same city. Like,
yeah, I mean, why have 2 different companies in the same one? I mean, I would hope that they're going to move all 200 employees over, but I'm sure that some of those jobs will be redundant. So,
or they'll be developers that work specifically on mobile games and they don't really have a place to fit in,
in their new
and then in the setup. Which, I mean, that's not the worst thing on the planet, I guess, because mobile devs are pretty in demand anyway. So I'm pretty sure they'll be able to find work in the same field.
Well, the easiest segue from this to the next article is that that company that they're moving to, EDS Montreal, is also one of the projects that they have working on is a super early entry into Deus Ex.
Yeah.
So, and this is why I'm always happy with Embracer Group. If they buy something, they're gonna be like, all right, let's put our hands on it. Let's fucking make something and see what happens to it. Because, I mean, they're gonna buy the IPs. Might as well make something out of it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we were worried
Still waiting
about.
for Darksiders 4, Game Awards. Please. I think I've gone through like 6 fucking Embracer Group announcements. They still have, I think it's 23 games left to announce.
That they haven't announced yet.
They've had like 80 something games that they've announced so far, and they've only got 25 left. Because they announced the new South Park. It was the last game that they announced at their last showing. So they got a new South Park coming. Some new SpongeBob games, which I'm gonna be honest, surprised me how well they sell, but apparently SpongeBob games sell really well.
They're actually really good games.
Yeah, like I mean, it's crazy how well they sell, but they absolutely sell. So
I think what they do really well with those SpongeBob games is especially like for what is it, Battle for Bikini Bottom or whatever.
Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Those style games have an open world feel, so similar to what we were dealing with when we were dealing with like Mario 64 and things like that, but they're on rails. So it gives you an open feel, but it guides you where you need to go. And from a kid standpoint, when you have somebody that's just learning how to play, it's really good movement, and it's SpongeBob. I mean, we've all grew up with SpongeBob at some point in our lives. Mine was starting in like college, but still at the end of the day, you know, and it's fun stuff in that respect. So
it's like having the training thing on Mario Kart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of such, I let the Nug play Mario Kart.
He's not
on
good
the Switch.
at it.
He's not very good. I turned on. Well, the good thing is that game can literally play itself. You just turn it on, and he likes to hold the controller. He kept turning it like a stick, and I was like, "No, you got to hold it sideways to play with it." And he'd turn it. It's like he'd eventually get it and move the car a little bit. It's like you get it, you get it. You're just not interested yet.
He's just not big enough yet to know.
He'd rather play with the big controller because he
That's
knows
the way
how to
Nutter
use the
was
big
with
controllers.
Once Nutter figured it out. Actually, I'll tell you what got her interested in it. Is we went to Disney. You had the little rides that like the golf cart, or not golf carts, go-kart things that you can get into and ride. Well, the kids can drive them because they're on tracks, right? So you can you're doing this the whole time and bumping up against the track, but you do it. And she really enjoyed it. When we got home, she was trying to play Mario Kart after that, but all she would do is basically just hit a wall and stay there, and then get frustrated because she couldn't back get to where she needed to go. So,
well, as far as the actual story goes, there's talk about what the new Deus Ex might be, whether or not it's a continuation. Because to be fair, you've got Adam Jensen's story that did not get an actual end to it because of the way that Mankind Divided ended up. Like, Human Revolution, really good. They went into Mankind Divided, and it's like, they went, okay, this game needs to be the second of 3, because we need 3 games to make this a trilogy about Jensen. So just chop off the end and make that the next game, and we'll worry about it then. And so that's what they did, is like, the end of that game feels like abrupt. It like hits you in the face after a really, really unsatisfying boss fight.
I've played a lot of games in my day, and I have never hit a brick wall ending like that game.
Yeah.
Ever.
It was like basically they went, the studio heads told us that we had to stop the game here, so we're not even going to try. We're just going to actually literally let you have this boss fight that's not really even a boss fight, and then we're going to... It's the end.
And then Square Enix was surprised at the fact that it didn't sell and that people were upset about it and canceled the game.
Yeah.
The next game.
Like,
that you cut off.
It's because it didn't feel... The whole game didn't feel great anyway. Like... I don't know.
It was okay, mediocre at best. And like I said, like, I just can't get over how bad that ending felt. Because it was like, oh, we're finally getting progress into the story, because it's kind of open world-ish. So you kind of move through and you get some story bits, and then you start making it towards the story, the heavier part. And it feels like you just got started, and then you just slam into this wall and it ends, and you're like, is that the credits?
I don't know.
Like, is this just a fake credits?
Ending, but was a pretty good brick wall too.
Which one?
Fable 2.
Fable 2.
Oh,
yeah, but at least it felt like an ending. Like, you felt like you were getting somewhere to the end, and there were a lot of stuff to do around
all
that.
This work and trouble, and the boss is like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do this monologue until you or this other character shoot me." That's it. It would feel like that one isn't so bad because like you get a lot of stuff around it. Imagine if Fable was like half that size. You did like 3 side quests and you got to the first town and it was like, congratulations, you made it to the town. Game over.
You're like, oh.
It's like, so what? My objective was to get to the town and that's it? It's the whole game?
Yes.
Yep.
Stay tuned for Fable 3.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Uh...
Oh god. Just wanted to lose my shit on them.
I was trying to find it because I feel like I made a video of the last boss fight and it was literally like 2 minutes or something like that. It was.
I remember that boss fight like the back of my hand because I remember trying to get all intricate to it, and then I finally took him down, and then it just started rolling credits afterwards, and I was like,
yeah.
Is that the end? Was that the end of the game? But there was so much more story to talk about. But there wasn't anything going on. Oh my god.
Yeah, I
yeah,
can't
I'm a little that game just is awful.
Bad. Really bad.
Could have been good. Should have been good. Wasn't. Maybe the new one will be better. I think the question is, do you finish up Jensen's story? Do you start something new? Do you reboot one of the originals? Like, what do you do with it? You know?
Start something new. You have to start something new.
I don't disagree with that.
I think you can start with something new, but if you're going to go in and if you wanted to finish Jensen's story, you've got to start it over because you've got an entire group of people that
will never played it.
Never played it, and you cannot use Mankind Divided at all in its current state. So you've got to start back over with the was it Human Revolution? Not the first one.
Yeah.
Hell, if you want to get wild, fucking remake Human Revolution and start there, and then basically diverge from there. Be like, all right, now
because
we're gonna make
graphically,
our own
when that game first came out, it was gorgeous.
Oh yes,
like it probably still is gorgeous, but I mean, like at the time, it was one of those where and you could basically make the cyberpunk game that people were wanting to start with, but put it in this storyline that we love, right? So it's like, and I think that you can maneuver through, and I don't think you have to change because the game is damn near perfect the way it was. So it's like you don't have to change really any plot line or anything like that. You might want to change one of the boss battles, but for the most part, you don't need to change anything.
I 100% agree. Start it simple, build up the audience again because we're waiting. You don't have to just remake the Human Revolution game and you're good to go.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they could. There was the first game that was 2001. Was it? Yeah, I mean, you could remake the very first one if you wanted to, like, completely restart. But
who's the protagonist in that? Is it Jensen?
No, it's not Jensen. Jensen's story starts in Human Revolution. What's that guy's name? J.C. Denton. I was like, it's initials. I just couldn't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it's J.C. Denton as the main character of that one. So it was PlayStation 2. You could review that.
Okay, interesting. Deus Ex, the first game takes place in 2052, where Human Revolution takes place in 2027. 25 years before the first game.
Really?
I actually didn't realize that. I've never played the first one.
And Mankind Divided takes place 2 years after Human Revolution. So they show you what the world is like in like 25 years, and then they go back and show you the growth to where the first game took place at.
I feel like, because if you they're starting on a game right now. I think you have to start in 2052 because 2027 is about the year that it would be starting, and we're all going to go, we have none of this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you have to take it as an alternate timeline kind of deal to start with, because it's like any other, like, cyberpunk and all of that stuff. Like 2077, we're not going to have that kind of stuff by 2077. It's just probably not in the cards for us. But we also understand that it's an alternate timeline because it is a cyberpunk world, which Deus Ex is leaned into cyberpunk dystopia stuff.
If only humans could get their shit together and focus on scientific growth, it would be wonderful.
Well,
God, the things humans could do if we could focus and work together.
Yeah, I could have really cool mechanical arms, and then I wouldn't be noodles.
Well, I mean, there are really, really good prosthetics that are out there. They're really close to what you got.
But you generally don't electively get those. And in like a cyberpunkish world, I could be like, I'd like to have Jensen's arms. Cool. Let's just go make that happen. Like, it's not a big deal.
Well, which is why I would say, even if it isn't a alternate universe or, alternate reality, you still want to put it at 2052 because our brains can't comprehend modern day alternate.
Yeah.
It's just very difficult for people
That's why in Resident Evil, when they are modern time, when they are released, they take place at time. It always keeps stuff within somewhat, like your main character is within the realm of capabilities. The monsters you fight are suspending belief, but you can feel like you're the character. But in Deus Ex, you need to time jump. You need to go further ahead.
I'm aware in 2077 that's not going to happen, but Cyberpunk 2077 made me believe that it was.
Yeah. I don't believe the world's going to be like that by 2077.
Yeah, but I mean, you get flashbacks in 2077 to what happened in 2022, I think, or something like that, and so you're like, wait, that's
still doesn't seem reasonable.
Yeah, I know, and that's this is one of those things where it's like that's making it very obvious that we're in an alternate timeline kind of situation. But I wouldn't mind, like, you could even change all of that by 100 years and make it 2152 or 2127.
That'd be fun, actually.
But then I guess if you set it too far, everybody's like, why didn't we advance past this? And it's like, well, first of all, because anytime that you start heading into cyberpunk, it's a dystopia. So obviously the corporations got involved and money was a thing. That's why we didn't advance past this. Y'all gotta understand why every cyberpunk is set in a dystopia, not a utopia.
I mean, just take a look at modern day. We're heading towards a dystopia anyway. But now we just got to make sure we get the cool cyberpunk part of it out of the way.
Besides, if you were in a cyberpunk utopia, you wouldn't need all of the cool weapons. If it's a dystopia, nobody cares if you're murdering folks.
I know, right?
Fair. Fair.
That's just the logic. Well,
and if it's a griftopia, it doesn't matter.
That's true. You just have to do what I say, and that will change day to day. So,
welcome to my world.
Today is utopia. Tomorrow's dystopia. Who knows? Just got to keep up with the morning bulletin.
That's why I just take on the role as commander.
Well,
sit on the chair and wait for it to be called in.
In a completely unrelated but other bit of news, Sony is launching PSVR 2. So that's a thing that will happen in February, right in time for Oak's birthday. So if you want to throw him a headset, there you go. It's right around his.
Throw him a headset. That's right. You
right around his birthday.
Yeah, somebody send me a $550 PSVR 2. That'd be great. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I'll send you the empty box.
That's all we can afford.
Too funny. So it is going to be
might be nice and put some rocks in it, so you think it's there.
Oh, you're so sweet.
No, that way when you get upset it's not in there, you can throw them.
Perfect.
No. Go kick rocks.
Go kick rocks.
Anyway, about the system itself.
So the system
your Minecraft material.
So the system itself, of course, is specifically for the PS5. So if you have the current VR system that they have, you can use it on a PS4 and a PS5, but you can only use the original VR games for the old system. You cannot use any of your old games on the new system. It does have controllers and come with a headset as well.
Man, Sony is so against backwards compatibility.
But it's because they know they're gonna make the money reselling you things you already own.
God,
they know it.
And the funny thing is, they used to be for backwards compatibility.
I know. God, they were like, yeah, we're for everything. Yeah, what was this, PS3? And nothing played on the PS3 or PS4?
I will say
the original PS3s would be backwards compatible, and then they shortly did away with it, like a year or so later.
Yeah, like it was at some point where they're just like, let's not. Somebody in the board meetings were like, how about no?
Xbox got called out for it right off the bat. Sony got no flack, none.
Yeah,
absolutely no flack for doing
minds about the Xbox One not being backwards compatible and always having to be online and everything. And Microsoft's like, let's backtrack.
Yeah, well, we were kidding. We could. Hey, Nintendo's gotten so much shit for their double handing that stuff too, and they're like, hey, we're gonna equal this out. Yeah, you can have backwards compatibility all the way to the Nintendo, but you got to pay for a sub for it. Yeah, yeah, whatever. I guess that'll work. Which, to be fair, their year-long
The
deal
only
is not bad
things
at all.
that were backwards compatible to an extent with Nintendo were their handheld stuff.
Yeah, I know, because those fuckers are like, hey, every console we're gonna change the disc, so you or change the memory thing, so you can't play it. You got the cartridge, you got the upright cartridge, you got the small discs, you got the what was the
Well, you
You got
small
smaller
disc.
cartridges, then you got the small disc.
When you had a Wii, though, the GameCube disc would actually fit inside the Wii.
Yeah, they did have backwards compatibility for that.
Yeah, the small discs.
That's the only one that that and from the Wii to the Wii U, which was basically just an upgraded Wii, but whatever.
It was a Wii with a handset.
Yep.
But yeah, like, how is it that PlayStation never gets called out for this shit?
I don't know. Now, I will say this. This is, and I've played the regular VR because a friend of mine owned one, and I borrowed it for a little while. I did not care for their VR because it was basically just wearing the VR headset, and you could use one of their controllers, or you could go and buy the Move controllers, which I'm not buying the Move controllers if I don't own the headset. That makes no sense for me. I had no need for them otherwise.
Yeah.
And you could use those as like the regular controllers are for that. This one they built from the ground up specifically to compete with the other stuff that's on the market. The difference is it's only, you can only use it on their system.
Yeah.
So it makes no.
It does compete, but it doesn't. Like, it doesn't have the shared hardware to compete on. It's like you have to play this stuff right here and only here, and that's it. So
I like that when they did the Move controllers for the first VR headset, none of the stores were getting them in stock anymore because they weren't ever selling them.
Right.
Yeah.
So they became impossibly hard to find.
And when they got them, just to kind of put things in perspective, the game, the system itself is going to be $550 when it launches in February. And again, 2 controllers, headset, headphones, and then the original when it was released was $399. Plus, if you wanted to have control, if you could find them, the Move controllers were around $100 for a pair. So you'd be looking at $499. So you're looking at $50 more, but it includes them. You're not having to go find them anywhere. Mm-hmm. And it's only for the PS5, which you can't find anywhere. So good luck. I think they pointed out that it would be, was it like 1,090 pounds for the if you bought the PS5 and a PSVR too, so you spend over $1,000 basically.
Yeah. Damn. I mean, I would just rather buy I would rather just buy a headset or buy a VR console for my computer than one of those. Yeah. Which Valve is still like their newest edition. They're working on it now. So
and I don't like Meta at all, but Meta's system, their newest system that they're releasing, the Pro system that they're coming out, is what, $1,200 or $1,400. So for $400 more, you can get a standalone system that you don't have to buy a console for.
What is it?
But then you also have to be connected to Meta.
Yeah, it's the Quest Pro, I think is what it's called. If you're looking it up, the other one's $400.
Meta Quest Pro.
I do wish that VR was more affordable. It's just not yet, you know.
Yeah, it's $1,500.
So $1,500. So $500 more, you can get a standalone system.
There's also not a ton of games out that I would really like to play on it.
Yeah,
either.
Be super into, and it's still to the
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, Chicken wants it for Resident Evil 4, but
like
VR is still to the point where some people can't play it for very long, and I say that knowing that Chicken and I both tried out VR stuff, and it's like we could play it for like 20-30 minutes, and then it was time for to sit down for a second.
Man, so, I'm telling you, I need a fucking an OmniTrack pad, and I will be in such good shape.
Right. It's just really expensive.
I don't know. Beat Saber kept me in shape. I had sweat pouring off the side of me. I was sore for 2 days.
My brain just cannot, and I guess it's just how my brain is. But like looking around was no big deal. And if I had the capabilities to just have a standalone headset, I'd be fine. But the wires and like moving the camera without moving my head was fucking destroying me because my eyes would try to readjust as I'm moving real quick, and I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But looking around was perfectly fine. Like I could look around and then move forward and look around and move forward, things like that. But snapping the camera in different directions with my eyes not moving.
Yeah, I didn't care.
So hard.
I have a friend that has the Quest 2 or whatever it is, the standalone one that Meta makes. And I used it just to try it out and was trying to do what you were talking about. And I was like, this is weird. Like, it's not a way to play a game. Like comfortably anyway. So I don't know. It's just not there yet. But I mean, a lot of people, they sold a lot of the original version of the PlayStation VR. So I guess they'll sell some of these to people that have yet.
I wonder,
I'm sure.
because one of the comments mentioned, part of what motivates sales for a product like this is going to be the catalog that you get with it. But because it's not backwards compatible, it's like, here's your handful of games that you can play with your new expensive toy. So, like, do people buy it right that second to play that one game, or do they,
No. That's why, again, buying one for the PC is the best, because you have your Steam library, and guess what? A lot of those fucking games already have VR capabilities to it. So your library is already double stacked. You buy one, you've already got shit ready to go. You don't got to buy a whole new library. You just pick one of those games. Granted, some of those games are assholes, like Ark you have to buy an entirely separate version of Ark to play it VR, which makes me a little upset. Because I wanted to fly around on my Dino, and it's like, nope, you got to buy this, and I'm like, I'm not buying that.
Same thing for Green Hell. Green Hell had a separate version.
Yeah, so.
But now, like, The Forest didn't. The Forest was part of it. Squadron, the Star Wars game where you're the flight simulator one.
Yeah.
It was part of it. So I didn't play that one on the VR set. Just basically because you had to use a controller with it instead of using the ones that would be part of the system. So, and I was like, I don't want to hold a controller and look around. I want to be able to actually move my hands and do what I want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I didn't really do it with that one, but I guess we'll see how the sales go on that one. Because I mean, the other one sold decently, but if you don't have a lot of people with PS5s out there.
Yeah, I mean, those are still out of stock in a lot of places.
I'm wondering what the percentage of people from the PS4 had the VR system.
I don't know.
Because PS4 sold really, really well, and the PSVR sold well, but what's that percentage? So, if it's one of those where it's like, okay, well, 10% or 20% of all people that owned a PS4 had the VR system. Now we're coming out with this the PlayStation VR 2, and we don't have as many PS5s out there as we'd like to, and that number's the same, that 10% to 20%. You're not gonna get great sales, but that goes back to how many people are willing to make games for a system that they know is not going to sell on that particular system too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Sony's already hard enough to make for.
No shit. Silent Hill would be a great.
Oh my god! Like do you want to have a heart attack? Well, you probably do just fine. Do
yeah,
I want to have a heart attack? Absolutely not. It is hard enough.
Was it Resident Evil 7 that was in VR?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing.
And oh my god, the praise it got for being so good too. Everybody loved it. But that's the thing is like horror games are like the go-to. I mean, Phasmo is so good in VR. If I wouldn't have had the damn stream.
Alien Isolation in VR.
Hell yeah. Like horror games are the go-to. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I definitely think that's where the big niche is for sure.
Mm-hmm. Shooters not so much yet. You need like a full Omni trackpad to be able to.
There's a few shooters out there that people really enjoy playing. There's one that's on the Quest only that a lot of people enjoy, but it's I think it's because they made it to where it feels more natural going through and maneuvering. I think it's more of that what I call the point and click movement, where you just kind of you've pointed to an area and your character moves to that area versus using a controller to move there and then you're shooting. I think that's how that one works, and people seem to like it, and it's just a multiplayer map of some sort. And I'm sure there's a BR version of something just to get the BR people, give them something. But again, you're talking about getting stuff on Steam to where you've got a big choice versus trying to get something specific for a console. So I guess
Yep.
I guess we'll see.
Yes, that's why PC is, in my opinion, superior, and that's why Xbox has put Game Pass over here too. It's like look, you get these huge ass libraries, Xbox
I do
gives
not
you
understand,
one, and Steam gives you your own.
I do not understand Sony's logic right now. Like, why? Maybe that's what they're working for. Maybe they're working for to eventually have their client, and then their VR system will work on a PC too because it works through their clint. If they did that, they'd sell tons of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be ideal. That's where you want to end up.
Maybe we get closer to E3 and they've already announced it, go through and go from there. But I mean, they created their own Horizon game specifically for this setup, and I think there were a few others they announced recently too. So, give it to me on my PC. I'll be happy.
Yes.
I'll be real happy. Anything else?
No, I guess that's
No.
it.
I think that's pretty much it.
Awesome. We do appreciate everybody who hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Griff's lineup.
Check out Chicken.
Adley Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Chicken's Twitch account, twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313. As we get closer to the cold and closer to the winter time, I promise you the man is going to go back to streaming.
Cold.
I know,
I'm
right?
actually looking
actually
forward
opening
to
the
it.
weather right now.
I'm actually looking forward to it. I still don't know. I played something new, and I need to be free by March 23rd.
You looked at the temperature outside right now, didn't you?
No, I looked at the temperature for this week where we live. It's the high for today is 82, and then by Thursday we're at 75. Next Saturday's high is 57.
Awesome.
Our
We're
low
getting
is 35.
Woohoo! Not quite freezing, but close enough.
Close
So
enough.
the cold
Let
will
that
be
shit
here
get
for
cold.
the weekend, and then it will probably,
Back to 80 degrees.
well, by the Sunday after that, we'll be back in the 60s.
Oh,
So-
there you go.
Oh, okay. That's 560 the high is perfectly fine.
Well, if we're back in the 60s, that means we're going back up. So, we'll be in the 70s by
Yeah.
the week after that. Because that's how it is
Yeah.
around here. The weather is just a roller coaster.
Woohoo! If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
Oh shit.
Accurate.
Wait, that's some good
Also,
weather
make
thing,
sure you go to twitch.tv/MDB Oaktree, where you can check me out almost every day of the week. If you go on there, you'll know when I go live. Or if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know where I go live. So that's all you need to know.
Well,
Bring it
maybe.
to Respawn.
You got to pay the $8 on Twitter now, or else nobody's going to see it. So.
I mean, it's Twitter Blue. I'm already a Twitter Blue person anyway because I like to have the edit button to be able to edit my shit. But, the do not send this shit out even though because I'm angry right now and I made a mistake of typing it button is what I like to call it. But
Sorry.
yeah.
I mean to
For
interrupt you.
Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
Griff.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.